Our speaker this afternoon is Daniel Butler. Daniel is recognised as one of Australia's leading SMSF and estate planning lawyers. He is the chair of the Taxation Institute of Australia's National Superannuation Committee and a member of the National Tax Technical Committee. He regularly presents on tax, superannuation and succession topics. He is a contributing editor for CCH's Superannuation Services and a regular contributor to the Taxation Institute's Taxation in Australia Journal, along with a range of other publications. We will be taking questions at the conclusion of Daniel's paper. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Daniel to the podium.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'll just start by one topic I'm not going to talk about this afternoon. It's the excess contributions tax. So I won't be talking about that unless I get questioned on it, and hopefully there's no hecklers in the audience today. But what I really want to talk about today was where super funds are being used as a vehicle to invest in property, and what are the rules we have to keep an eye on. So what we're going to look at is, what is the ATO's perspective on when you're doing property developments? The old chestnut, can the super fund run a business in a super fund? We'll look at the main tax and regulatory hurdles that you must be aware of, like when you're advising clients, what are those issues you need to check through? You just don't say, yep, it's a goer. What's our checklist there that we need to go through for our clients? We'll look at investing in related parties. So when we're looking at a related trust or related party, what are the traps there? What are the issues we need to consider how do we know that's not an in-house asset? So we'll look at those issues. We'll look at just doing a property development via, say, a unit trust, and we'll look at a range of structures. So when we're setting up a client, we know today we can do the borrowing in the super fund. We know as well with the borrowing, we are not supposed to be borrowing to do improvements. So we could do things via a unit trust, and then it comes down to what are those unit trust rules. We'll look at also the tips and traps for business real property. Is this really business real property, like if it's vacant land or there's not a legitimate business there? What are the issues with that? And we'll look at what's happening on the borrowing space, because with the borrowing space there has been a lot of changes. So if we move on and start talking about this concept of a super fund going out to do a development, in a lot of cases the development may easily tip over to being a business. So a lot of people ask, can we conduct a business in the super fund? And for a while there, the ATO hasn't been all that positive on super funds conducting businesses. Indeed, it's only been in recent times that have come around on this point to acknowledge that, yes, a super fund is not prohibited from conducting a business, but what they look at is the various tests. Are the various tests satisfied by that fund? So we've had this acknowledgement here, most recent acknowledgement in May 2010, that really the business can be carried out in the fund. However, there are these regulatory provisions that the ATO would like to see covered. And that's the link on the ATO website. It's a fact sheet on the ATO website that you go to. We obviously know that if we are going to conduct a business or a property development, our deed must support us, so we need to have that provision in our deed. There's an old 1848 case which is often referred to, Kirkman and Booth. We need the power there expressly to conduct a business. It is wise to have powers expressly to, say, carry on a property development, lease, improve and so on. And I'm a lawyer, and I know you might be thinking I'm being legal here, but one of the things that's really tested deeds in recent times is this borrowing power, because when it comes to a borrowing power, the banks are checking it over, particularly their lawyers, and recommending a change to a lot of deeds that we see purely to have express power in them. So the borrowing power has really brought about a lot of tightening up in deeds where self-managed super funds are going out to borrow. We also should be looking at the fact of the trustee, who the trustee is. The fact is a lot of these trustees themselves might be into property development. So if they are into property development, let's say it's mum and dad who do property development, they run a business, let's say it's dad who's running the property development business. Through the super fund there is this requirement they don't get remunerated for what they're doing. So there's no remuneration to a trustee or director. Obviously, if people are doing a property development, one of the first things that we would point out